Brands often use humor and offbeat themes in their promotions. You've probably known quite a few odd advertising campaigns.
You hear that? I can ship my pants for free.
Wow, I just may ship my pants.
Yeah, ship your pants. Billy, you can ship your pants too.
I can't wait to ship my pants, Dad.
We love these subs! 'Cause they are toasty subs!
The 1980s were no stranger to humorous and downright bizarre promotions.
Very big, fluffy, fun.
Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun.
Free Bic Razor with your Egg McMuffin, anyone? In March of 1983, ShowBiz Pizza Place embarked on arguably one of the most bizarre, unique, and downright insane promotional events ever held by a company. ShowBiz invited their patrons to grab an ordinary colander from their cupboards at home, decorate it any way they liked, and wear it on their heads inside the restaurant on Wednesday nights. Perhaps the only thing more ridiculous and insane than a company going all in on such a weird promotional event is the story of how such an event came to be in the first place. This is the story of Crazy Colander-Head Night. By late 1982, ShowBiz Pizza Place had been around for 2 years. The company, a subsidiary of Brock Hotel Corporation, had recently moved their corporate headquarters from Topeka, Kansas to Irving, Texas. It was during this period when the company opened its 100th ShowBiz restaurant, located at the nearby Redbird Mall in Dallas, Texas. In celebration, the company held the largest grand opening they had ever undertaken. The daytime festivities included marching bands, merchandise giveaways, and a special visit from the ShowBiz trolley. Yes, the fabled trolley Santa drove in the night before Christmas show.
Wondering I should appear was the ShowBiz trolley grinding fourth gear.
Presentational speeches at the store entrance were given by company owners, Bob Brock, the head of Brock Hotel Corporation, and Aaron Fechter, the head of creative engineering. The festivities didn't stop when the sun went down. A hot air balloon featuring Billy Bob was lit up and inflated in the parking lot outside of the store. Aaron Fechter, dressed as Billy Bob, was flown in via helicopter to interact and take photos with the crowd that was gathered for the event. Television celebrity and ShowBiz Pizza advertising spokesman, Dick Van Patten, even made an appearance. But despite the festive atmosphere and grandiose party, ShowBiz Pizza Place was headed for trouble.
At that point, when we opened our 100th restaurant, that's when we realized, or that's when the people who controlled the money realized, that we were losing money.
Although financial cracks were starting to show for the company, at this particular grand opening celebration, a ray of hope emerged. It was here, during one of the celebratory speeches, that Aaron Fechter proudly presented a decorated colander to the captive audience gathered outside the restaurant. This colander, adorned with a button, an apple, a block of cheese, and a shoelace strap, was awarded to an audience member whose name was drawn to wear this special colander. It's hard to say who was more confused, the audience, or the lucky kid who wound up becoming the first ShowBiz Pizza Place Colander-Head. The Colander-Head Movement, as it became known, started in earnest one night at Aaron Fechter's house as sort of an inside joke that over time went wildly out of control. Bert Wilson, the voice of Fats Geronimo, and Jeff Howell, the voice of Uncle Clunk, described the colander origins in this clip from the Monsters in the Morning radio show.
They used to fly me all around the country to different cities, and I would be met at the airport by hundreds of kids. I would show up with a colander on my head.
Why?
Because I was over at his house one night, and we were having dinner, and I was helping to clean up afterwards, and we had a colander. We had strained the vegetables in, and I put it on my head. I was drinking. And
he went, that's genius.
He went,
that's
that's genius.
Actually, what he said was, he said, we need to invent something kind of like the Beatles did that just changed culture, like their haircuts. You know, before the Beatle haircuts, everybody was slicking their hair back in the old Fonzie haircut.
Yeah.
And the Beatles came out with long hair and long
was
bangs.
dirty.
Yeah. And he said, we need to come up with some kind of fashion style that'll do that. And Bubba looked over at that colander and he went, how about this? And put it on his head, and he went, that's genius, and started the Colander-Head Movement. And I swear to God, there were 300 ShowBiz Pizza places around the country that every Wednesday night, about 100 to 200 people would show up with colanders on their heads.
And we would induct them into the Colander-Head Movement.
If you watch
decorate it.
If you watch that video that they make, the entire recording session, which features a very young Jeff Howe and Bubba Wilson, they're all, while working in a serious environment, walking around with GD colanders, rubber band strapped to their heads.
That's what that was.
That's ridiculous.
And then we brought it into the Mardi Gras thing. Every year we go to Mardi Gras with our colanders on our head and do our little thing where we push the fat lady around. But anyway, so
You're great.
So
You're great.
Does that go to show that an inventor like that, I mean, like, okay, I mean, the one thing you would say, maybe whack-a-mole is kind of genius, you know.
Yeah.
But then colander on your head, we all agree that's not genius, right?
Well, we were kind of slipping over the edge at that point.
Okay, all right.
See, whack-a-mole was built to monetize. The colander was just kind of unique to get attention.
Fector, for whatever reason, loved the idea. Somehow, the wearing of a colander on one's head became symbolic of letting go of the stresses and hassles encountered in everyday life. Fector saw it as a meaningful expression, and also a fun way to take part in a shared experience. In January of 1982, Fector stated in a newspaper interview, "One night, Bert and I were having a brainstorming session. He was fiddling with a colander, and he just stuck the colander on his head. It distorted the way he looks so drastically that we passed it back and forth and looked at each other and looked in the mirror. We realized we had started a club. It's just for fun. There's no way to do it and be mean. People aren't wearing them for social occasions yet. It's for normal people like judges and lawyers who want to vent their anxiety and join in a little fun. The Colander-Head Club." Lately, we've been wearing our colanders around. Some people are hanging dried broccoli from them. We were wearing our colanders in Townsend's, Fish House, Tavern, and Shellfish Bar the other night when a guy who was a Florida linebacker came up to us. He was indoctrinated right then and there. Indeed, Fector and the other members of the Colander-Head Club began wearing their colanders while they were out and about in public. They were also wearing them constantly while working at Creative Engineering, often donning them during recording sessions in the studio.
Airplane model. See, it's got aluminum foil on the inside. It's got my flying wings on the outside. I can also wear this in the rain. The aluminum foil makes it possible. Thank you.
Fector's goal was to have a member of the Rock-afire Explosion introduce the Colander-Head Movement into ShowBiz Pizza Place. The initial plan was for Beach Bear to be the Colander's ambassador, possibly because he was the crazy character in the group and was a likely fit for such a weird idea.
We have Beach Bear, who's really kind of crazy and holds up the crazy image.
Let's give it to her, dude. Little sister, don't you? Little sister, don't you? Little sister, don't you kiss me once or twice, then you say it's very nice, and then you run.
When G, our first album, was released in the spring of 1982, Beach Bear is shown on the back cover, inexplicably wearing a colander. He was also depicted in a colander on the record cover for the single Disco Christmas, which was sold at ShowBiz during the 1982 holiday season. Having fun wearing colanders and parading them around in a private makeshift club is one thing. Selling the idea to a multi-million-dollar corporation and getting them to take it seriously is another. Fector and the team at Creative Engineering had been butting heads with senior members of ShowBiz's management since day one, and this was no exception. Several corporate officers had little interest in many of the pet projects that Creative Engineering wanted to pursue, and this one in particular drew intense ire from the executives. As the story goes, a meeting was held where Fector and Wilson were pitching the Colander-Head concept to the ShowBiz board members. Almost immediately, the the ShowBiz people began to openly question and argue the idea. Like most level-headed people, they didn't understand it. At all. During the back-and-forth bickering, Bob Brock picked up one of the colanders that had been brought in as an example and quietly placed it on his head. That simple action silenced the detractors in the room. It signaled that he was ready to go along with this crazy idea. Brock had a faith in Fector and his work that few others shared. Just as had happened many times in the past, Brock exercised his clout and allowed Fector to do as he wished. The groundwork and approval had been given to roll out ShowBiz Pizza Place's most insane promotion yet. The event came to be known as Crazy Colander-Head Night, and ShowBiz went all out with the festivities. For the month of March, all ShowBiz employees and management wore colanders around the restaurant. The animatronic members of the Rock-afire Explosion were each outfitted with specially made colanders that were themed to their specific character. Fats, the grand poobah of the Colander-Head Movement, wore a colander with a large banana, grapes, and rubber alligators that complemented his Louisiana origins. Mitzi's colander was adorned with a floral arrangement, including red roses and baby's breath. Beach Bear had a tropical-themed colander, with exotic feathers and an island theme. Duke's colander featured the wreckage of a space rocket. Billy Bob had various tools and hardware affixed to his colander, things that would have been lying around Smitty's Super Service Station. Looney Bird was unique in having a yellow colander, and Earl wore a plain colander. Rolf was the one exception, being the only band member who refused to wear a colander and openly protested the entire movement. Instead, he insisted on championing his own unique movement, where people would wear small appliances strapped to their faces.
And it's the noble small appliances movement.
Yeah, sure. And you see, folks, we're doing this Colander-Head movement here on Wednesday nights, and it's a lot of fun. Everybody keeps telling us how much fun it is, but Rolf don't like it. In fact, he's the only person who won't wear his colander in.
Yeah, that's right. It's a ridiculous idea.
Yeah, sure, Rolf, ridiculous. Anyway, so Rolf has a better idea.
Yes, that's right. Much better.
And what it amounts to is he thinks people ought to come in with small appliances strapped to their face.
No, Earl, not to their face, to their head. And don't you see how great it's going to be, Earl? I mean, imagine thousands of people all over the world coming into ShowBiz Pizza Place with toaster ovens and crock pots and Mixmaster blenders and everything strapped to their head.
ShowBiz Pizza Place customers were encouraged to make their colanders as crazy and unique as possible, as the nationwide winner of the craziest colander would win an all-expenses-paid fantasy vacation of a lifetime for their entire family. Putting this all together was no small feat, and creative engineering shouldered most of the work prepping and preparing materials for stores to be able to take part in this insane event.
Why exactly do you wear a colander?
Honestly to God, I don't know right now. Just cause it's something different.
All right, a man after our own ambition or whatever.
This stands to reason, as Colander Night was their brainchild in getting stores to take part, including the independently franchised stores, wasn't the easiest sell.
And then when they told ShowBiz they needed to outfit all these characters with these giant industrial-sized colanders.
And their employees. A lot of them said, we're not doing it. We're not doing it.
Because that's stupid.
Yeah, but they did it. They made them. They called corporate up, and they said, everybody's got to wear a colander. So you go in there, and you see these managers, these like 50-year-old men. And they're wearing that stupid colander. They go, welcome to ShowBiz Pizza. Come on in. Oh, my God. If it wasn't for the insurance.
I got drunk at his house and put a colander on my head. But anyway, that's a sign of greatness.
For starters, the animatronic characters of the Rock-afire Explosion needed to be retrofitted with industrial-sized colanders. While this sounds simple enough, because of the kinetic movements of the animatronics, the colanders weren't simply strapped on. To be properly affixed, each character needed to have a hole drilled into their fiberglass skull and an incision made to their fur cosmetics to allow a threaded rod to be inserted to hold the colander in place. Each of the characters had specific instructions and measurements since they all had unique sizes to their heads and colanders. To ensure stores were able to do this properly, creative engineering sent out detailed printed instructions, along with a short videotape showing how to properly install and measure the placement for each character. Speaking of videos, Creative Engineering produced a special video titled the 1983 Save the Colander Telethon, which was sent out to every ShowBiz store to explain this event, and also to get the employees hyped about the upcoming promotion. This mock telethon clocked in at around an hour and 15 minutes, and was made to appear as though a real telethon was happening, with the hopes of getting stores to call in and confirm their support.
All the restaurants are getting colanders in hopes that you'll send your votes to us and pledge your support, and he'll help you put the colanders on. So when you call, if you need any help and assistance in putting the colanders on the heads of the characters, talk to Tim or talk to Pat. They're ready to take your calls.
This video is great for several reasons. It offered a rare glimpse of behind-the-scenes footage of creative engineering. It also showed off some upcoming developmental projects, including the first footage of Uncle Clunk.
Here's Uncle Clunk. This is previously unreleased footage. Here is the first footage of Uncle Clunk ever released, right here. Uncle Clunk is different from all other characters that's ever been built by anyone, including Walt Disney, because Uncle Clunk is the first character that can pick up things.
And the only footage known to exist of the prototype second-generation characters.
Right now, she looks the same. Okay, the face will stay the same, the voice will stay the same. But notice these new movements. She has a hip bend. Take a look at those arm movements, would you? Those arms come in front of her body. She is really going to be able to perform. Picture that character who is just going through some routine movements right there, singing Tomorrow or her part in Abbey Road. We're real excited about the show business potential that the new Mitzi is going to have.
The telethon also showed off some of the promotional materials to go along with the Colander event, including the autographed 8x10 glossy photos of the characters, and even took some rare swipes at Chuck E. Cheese.
You won't believe this. Guess who I was just talking to?
Who?
Chuck E. Cheese. Can you believe it?
Chuck E. Cheese!
I swear, you kind of won't believe this. You won't believe this. No, wait. Guess what he's wanting? They're really upset with this. You know, they say they're going to outdo this. On Wednesday nights at their place, if people come in wearing refrigerators tied behind them. Refrigerators tied behind them, they'll give them 5 free tokens and,
That's a good plan.
Chuck E. Cheese, ladies and gentlemen, they're really going to hurt us this time, aren't they?
They're going to get into appliances on their heads. They might get us on that.
They just don't understand. They just don't understand.
Perhaps the highlight of this telethon was showing the voice actors behind the characters, performing as a real band and showing off their talent. This rare footage finally put some faces to the voices that employees would hear constantly during their shifts at ShowBiz.
Well, I never do nothing wrong, but I always get the blame.
All right, that was Beach Bear. My gal is red hot.
Your gal ain't doing the squat.
Yeah, my gal is red hot.
Your gal ain't doing the squat.
Well, she ain't got much, and she's really got a lot. My little gal is sitting boat, sleeps in the kitchen with her feet out nowhere. My gal is red hot.
Your gal ain't doing the squat.
Well, my gal is red hot.
Your gal ain't doing the squat.
Well, she ain't got much, and she's really got a lot.
With the goal of getting all 149 ShowBiz restaurants to join the Colander movement, the special concludes with a little jab at a particular Gordon Prince, a franchise owner who had a history of constantly complaining about ideas from creative engineering.
We're missing Gordon Prince's store in Nashville, Tennessee!
As the confetti flies, Aaron and Bert also make a plea to stores to call creative engineering to actually pledge their support.
But you guys, get into it with us at ShowBiz Pizza Place. You'll have a good time. You can perform right there at ShowBiz Pizza Place and have fun like we do and have some parties like this. It'll be a national phenomenon. Aaron, I just told him.
Okay, I got confetti in my mouth, but I'm back. This was a simulated telethon, and we want y'all to call us right now because we're really having a real one. Call us right now, area code 305-425-1001. Pledge your support. Pledge your support and join the Colander-Head Movement, please. We're going to have a lot of fun together. We're going to send y'all lots of new shows, lots of things.
A special show tape was produced to play in stores while the Colander event was taking place. This tape contained a variety of oldie songs, some current pop hits, and one original song written especially for this event titled Strain Your Brain.
Sometimes we even write the songs ourselves. You know, like, for instance, if a person wanted to do a song about a colander, he just about have to sit down and write it himself, which is exactly what we did.
It's not what you think, get it out of the sink.
Heard what I said?
Meet George Jetson,
Crazy Colander-Head,
and his boy Elroy.
Now, wait a minute.
As a fun merchandising tie-in, this original song was pressed onto a vinyl record and offered for sale, with the B-side being their cover of Born to Run, which was also part of the Colander-Head Night show tape. While Strain Your Brain was the only Colander-themed song, the character dialogue skits throughout the tape were used to describe the event and highlight a lot of the promotional material. Mentions were made of the Colander Gazette, a free mock tabloid that helped customers learn more about the Colander lore.
Get the whole scoop in the Colander Gazette. But I'll just tell you this, we having a great time creating these crazy colanders and wearing them to ShowBiz on Colander-Head Night. Of course, I wear mine all the time because I'm the grand poobah of the Colander-Heads, which means I'm the boss. So, I want everybody to wear their craziest colander in here on Wednesday night and join in the fun. Come on. Why, we even giving away an all-expenses-paid fantasy vacation for the whole family of the winner of the craziest colander. So, you don't want to miss that, see?
The Colander Gazette just happens to be an incisive journal written specially for colander heads. And besides, it ain't cheap. It's free.
Free? Free, little Earl?
Sure, it's free, Rolf. And you know what else? They even got a story in there about you. Got your picture and everything.
Oh, Earl, is there a picture of me in the newspaper?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Earl, did they happen to get my good side?
No, Rolf. They got your face.
Huh?
Ladies and gentlemen,
The show tape also highlighted the Colander Indoctrination ceremony, which was required for one to become a bona fide card-carrying Colander-Head member. Without this designation, one would be unable to receive many of the promotional perks. This was a special push to get people to actually create and wear their decorated colanders to the restaurant on Wednesday nights. A set of 5 autographed 8x10 photos were produced, each depicting a member of the Rock-afire Explosion wearing their colander. To collect the entire set, one would need to go to ShowBiz each week during the event.
Prizes for the craziest colanders and a special show for you called the Indoctrination. Now that's where you take the oath of the Colander-Head and you receive your own membership card.
Yeah, and card-bearing colander heads are going to get a free 8x10 glossy of their favorite ShowBiz character. And if you come every Wednesday night, you can collect the whole set.
That's right, Mitzi, and I'm sure everybody'd like to get hold of a picture of this pretty face.
You're a total spaz out, Fats.
Oh, come on now. Anyway, you only get one if you're a bona fide Colander-Head, and that means you gotta bring your colander and take the oath. No oath, no pictures.
There were 2 special Colander-themed shows that were sent to the stores along with the Colander show tape. These 2 shows were on a secondary reel, along with the typical 3 birthday shows, and could be queued up manually by the store tech. The first of which was the Indoctrination show, where Fats would lead the crowd in taking the oath of the Colander-Heads. At the commencement of this ceremony, an employee would then hand out official Colander-Head Club membership cards to those who took part. A second special show was the history of the noble American colander, in which Fats would explain the colander's former glory and unfortunate fall from grace.
Some of you may think I'm sporting the latest in modern haberdashery design. Others may think I have a stupid spaghetti strainer on my head. I see you out there poking one another saying, Fats has finally gone crazy. He's got a spaghetti strainer on his head and he don't care. But I do. This isn't just a spaghetti strainer. We think of it as the noble American colander.
This show is unique in that it required a live performer to interact with the animatronic characters on stage, the first time Showbiz had ever attempted such a feature, with an employee playing the part of Johnny DiGiacomo.
And to assist me now with this presentation, I present my protege, Johnny DiGiacomo. Johnny, how about you, bub? Yo.
Johnny was there to help wake up Fats when he fell asleep on stage, and also to flip through the giant photo cards that humorously illustrated the different scenes in which the colander was jokingly placed into important parts of American history. The show culminated in Fats making a call to action and asking everybody to help bring honor and dignity back to the colander.
Let's join together. Too much time has passed, America. Let's get that colander out and let's get it cranked up. Come on, everybody. We want you. We want you here at ShowBiz Pizza Place on Wednesday night. Get that colander down from that shelf, get that old thing decorated, and get it up on your head. That's right, decorate the colander. You know those little handles and those legs on top there? That's what that's for, to hang stuff on it, you know. That's right, everybody here on Wednesday night at ShowBiz Pizza. Wear your colander because you can get free tokens and your own Colander-Head Club membership card, and also a 8x10 picture of me, Fats, wearing my colander. Look at this pretty face. Can you hardly much as believe it?
The million-dollar question is, was this elaborate and nonsensical promotion successful? Did people actually play along and decorate colanders? The answer is yes. Children and adults from across the country took part and joined the Colander-Head Movement, having colander parties at the restaurant and entering their creations, trying to win the grand prize fantasy vacation. Aaron Fechter contends that part of what makes the colander event as successful as it was boiled down to simple bribery, offering up 6 free tokens and a free Coke to all colander heads on Wednesday nights.
And of course, there'll be bribery, where we give you free tokens if you wear your colander into ShowBiz. That was like the most important part of all of it, because the rest of it's fun, but without the free tokens, I'm not sure how well we would have done. So we give them free tokens and have a colander contest.
The event brought some much-needed sales to ShowBiz's slump, and drove business to the restaurant in the middle of the week when things were typically slower. Despite the success, ShowBiz failed to realize the potential of such creative investment into their business model. Losing sight of dreaming big and thinking outside of the box, sales once again began to dip once the colander event faded away. As the months passed, ShowBiz Pizza Place got the bright idea of trying to replicate the Colander-Head event by doing the exact same thing for a second time. In the fall of 1983, 6 months after the original run, ShowBiz debuted the Fabulous Fall Festival, in which Crazy Colander-Head Night would make another appearance, on Wednesday nights just as before. This event ran for close to 3 months, from September 5th through November 24th. To help refresh everyone's memories and to give an explanation of the event, a new edition of the Colander Gazette was released, this time printed and designed by ShowBiz. The paper contained all of the elements needed that were mentioned in the original show tape, such as a photo of Rolf and descriptions of the Indoctrination ceremony, but did have one glaring exception. Instead of colander heads receiving 6 free tokens and a free Coke, the promotion was downgraded to include only 2 free tokens. As such, there was one part of the Colander-Head Night show tape that needed to be clipped out to remove the reference to 6 free tokens, the intro to the 50s rock and roll medley.
Attention all colander heads. On Wednesday night for colander heads only, we are going to give away 6 free tokens and a free Coke to all colander heads. That's for colander heads only.
6 free tokens, Earl. 6 tokens. Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah, and a free Coke. That means you can play 4 games of Ms. Pac-Man and 2 games of Frogger, and go to the counter and get yourself a free Coke.
Despite the downgrade in free tokens, it does appear that ShowBiz was doing a lot to try to incentivize people to take the colander contest seriously, by offering a variety of really good prizes. Every Wednesday night, a winner was chosen among those who participated and was awarded a pizza party for 4, or 75 game tokens. The weekly winners in each store were then entered into another contest, with each store awarding a full-size video game cabinet to their local craziest Colander-Head. The grand prize beyond that was once again the fantasy vacation, a trip for 4 to either Walt Disney World or Disneyland, or $1,000 in cash. Although the fall edition of the Gazette contained humorous propaganda stories about the Colander, it also had some detractions from the Colander promotion by putting a large focus on the fall festival as a whole. And while it may have been good to change things up at the restaurant and give the employees some much-needed variety throughout the week, the festival was arranged in a manner where different shows would play on different nights. Monday nights were Fats Night, where shows incorporated Fats throughout, and customers would be given a free photo of Fats, along with other prizes and giveaways. Tuesday and Thursday nights were Country and Western nights. Wednesday nights were, of course, Colander-Head Night, and Friday through Sunday advertised new stage shows, which at the time would have been the Beatles' White Show tape. This schedule was to occur from 5 p.m. to close, and may have actually been scheduled as such out of necessity, as the Beatles' White tape included a show, Rolf's tribute to Frank Sinatra, which required a live actor just as the history of the noble American Colander show.
I don't see no cue card.
Oh, well, Johnny DeJockmo, it's time for you to come out here with the cue card. Are you there, Johnny?
But although good for employees and customers, the jumbled mess of nightly change-ups, not to mention the extended period of the festival, really only served to detract from the focus of the Colander. Considering the rehashed promotion failed to land quite as successfully as the initial run, the promotion was permanently shelved. But that's not the end of the story. Although the Colander had reached its end at ShowBiz Pizza Place, the memory and legacy of the Colander-Head movement wasn't gone. It simply lay dormant in the minds and hearts of Rock-afire Explosion fans for years to come.
That's the day the Colander, stripped of its pride and integrity, reduced to a common kitchen utensil, was shoved back on the shelves of mankind. Until now.
When the online fandom began collecting information and stories of ShowBiz's past, the Colander-Head phenomenon was slowly becoming uncovered. The first documented resurgence of the Colander happened in 2003, as part of the debut of Rock-apalooza, an online celebration of all things Rock-afire Explosion. Because it was the 20th anniversary of the Colander, fans sent in their craziest Colanders in an attempt to win some actual prize packages put together by ShowBizPizza.com. In 2010, for the 30th anniversary of ShowBiz Pizza, fans attending Cheesevention 7 in New York were encouraged to wear their Colanders to celebrate. ShowBizPizza.com held a special Crazy Colander event in 2013 for the 30th anniversary of the Colander-Head promotion, dropping never-before-seen media and celebrating the Colander-Head Night every Wednesday night on Radio ShowBiz. Other fan gatherings, such as a Goofy Gas party in 2020, had a small group of fans who all made their own crazy Colanders. Some even wore them openly through the airport. But perhaps the biggest Colander-Head event to date happened just last year. On July 12, 2024, attendees of BillyCon 4 brought decorated Colanders with them to Billy Bob's Wonderland in Barboursville, West Virginia. They then participated in a special indoctrination ceremony, taking the oath to become official Colander-Heads.
Now repeat after me. I state your name. As I look to the strainer of life, can see out the little holes, and see the peoples staring at me. But I care not. Place the colander up on your head now and say, I'm a proud Colander-Head and I don't care, and sit down. All right, now you are an official Colander-Head.
Dozens of fans took part in the event, showing off their creations and partying with fellow fans. Everyone received special Colander prize bags featuring a note from Fats and replica Colander-Head membership cards. It was quite the celebration and turnout, and proof that the spirit of the Colander-Head movement has never been forgotten. So, that's the history of the Crazy Colander-Head movement and promotion. It was definitely the most insane event to ever occur at ShowBiz Pizza Place. Or was it?